side notes, and the cover is fairly plain. It has some pens and pencils on it, and it's all white, and it's by Michael Thomas Ford. So I'm actually almost done with this one, or at least more than halfway done. And I'll read the back in just a second, but I will say it's not a bad book. It's just pretty intense. Excuse me. It's a pretty intense book. So if any of you guys decide you want to get this one, just be warned. It's pretty intense. There's a few trigger warnings that I wasn't aware of, so that was interesting. Okay, so let me read the back. It says, "You may think you're fine, but you're not. If you don't want to talk about it right now, that's your decision. You have 43 more days to talk about it." 15-year-old Jeff wakes up on New Year's Day and finds himself in the hospital. Make that the psychiatric ward. Clearly, there's been a huge mistake. Aside from the bandages on his wrists, there's no reason why Jeff should be here. He's perfectly fine. He doesn't need to spend an hour every day talking to a therapist or acting out skits about feelings with the other teens on the ward. But a funny thing happens as Jeff's 45-day sentence drags on. He realizes he's not as different from his fellow patients as he'd first thought. Compelling, witty, and refreshingly real, Suicide Notes is a darkly comic novel that examines the fuzzy lines between normal and the rest of us. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting book. The topic is pretty heavy, which I was aware of, but again, there's just a few things that are a bit of a trigger warning. So yeah, it's taken me a little bit longer to get through this one because some of the parts are intense and I've had to just put it down. And it's not a very long read. much more tired lately. I said it earlier, but work has been busier, like much busier for the time being. It's a specific kind of like season in my job. So everything's been like go, go, go. And typically I work 1 week in person, 1 week remote. But because of this specific season, I've had to go much more in person, which I'm just not used to anymore, I guess. And with like some of my health stuff, it's been a little bit more exhausting. And I'm in a lot more pain lately. But we're hanging in there, we're managing. I just gotta not fall off on the self-care. Yeah. Hold on, I see a page here that I want to look at. I don't know why. Oh, it's just a page that had like slight ink on it, I guess. Thought it was a picture. Okay, that was this one. So, the next one I'm gonna show is called All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. So, after going on a binge of buying a ton of her books, I told myself I would stop for a little bit, or at least hold back. And I did. I didn't buy only her books this time. It's the only book that I bought from her, but I just really love her writing. I love the stories that she tells. This one I might take a little longer to get to because there's another book of hers that I want to read. But again, I told myself I would put a pause mainly on reading her books for right now because I went through a time where I was just reading her books. So, yeah. This one called All Your Perfects. I love the front cover. The flower on it is really cute. Even though it's being, like the petals were pulled apart, but it's still nice. Okay, so the back reads, can a love story with a perfect beginning survive a lifetime between two imperfect people? Then, the last thing Quinn expected was to meet the love of her life just outside her fiancé's front door. A year after leaving behind their cheating partners, Quinn and Graham are in a perfect relationship that seemed designed by fate. Now, 7 years later, their perfect love is threatened by their imperfect marriage. The memories, mistakes, and dreams that they have built up over the years are tearing them apart. The one thing that could save them might also be the very thing that pushes their marriage past the point of no return. So, it's written with the same emotional depth and keen insight that made Colleen Hoover. It ends with us, an ugly love, instant New York Times bestsellers. All Your Perfects is a powerfully moving story about a broken couple whose future hinges on promises made in the past, reminding us that the enduring power of love is the ultimate savior. So that's All Your Perfects. And as I'm like flipping through quickly, I see that it looks like every chapter changes from the past to present. So the whole time I guess you're reading on things that happened in the past, and at the same time the story in the present is evolving as well. Which I like. She did one other book like that. I forgot what it was called. In that style. Or one other book that I read. She might have done more. She did. So that book that I read was in that style, and it was really good. But I'm a little bit impatient, and I like to know what happens. So the mysteries in the past are like events in the past, and the mysteries of like the present time So the series that I bought is called, or the first book is called Red Queen, and this is by Victoria Aveyard, I think is how you pronounce her name. Aveyard. It says power is a dangerous game. It is. Okay. So this is what the front cover looks like. The letters are a little bit raised on the page, so there's texture to this, and series is called Broken Throne, and it's like a deep purple cover with a very interesting crown. So yeah, that's this series. And I'm excited to read this one, but I'll probably read it last because I have a lot of other books that are just novels instead of series. So try to get through those first and then I'll read the series. But I'm excited, it sounds interesting. Okay. So that's it for this book haul. The next time I'll show the book that I let somebody borrow, because that one's a really good book. I don't think I showed it in the last video. I'll double check, but I don't think so. But yeah, that one's a really good book, so I'll show it next time. Alright, well, thank you guys so much for coming to visit me again today in this video, and thank you so much for all the support as usual. I really appreciate all the sweet comments you guys leave me and the support that you guys show. And it's nice knowing